What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, welcome to another edition of Quita in the Mornings. We got a lot to talk about. We were talking about physicality in the league and when it goes too far. We're also going to talk about Sue Bird, who has some merch she wants to sell you, as well as talking through some of the recent transactions that has happened in the WNBA, as well as anything else you all want to talk about. Quita in the Morning starts right now.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Ready, set, go.
Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Guys, this is another edition of Quita in the Mornings, as I got a lot to talk about, okay? We got a whole lot to talk about, and I hope y'all are excited about it. So as we get through it, please make sure to listen to my entire argument before you say that I am wrong. Listen to the full argument. And also, hit that like button and share this with somebody else. We are live on both YouTube and Twitter, but share it everywhere else. Repost everywhere else and let people know about what is happening in the world of women's basketball. Okay? All right. And first up, I want to talk about something. I want to talk about physicality, guys. I want to talk about physicality. The WNBA is tough. Has been, will probably always be. WNBA is tough. That is not up for debate. But the question is, how tough is too tough? Because lately we have seen a lot in the WNBA, from no calls to hair pulling to flagrant level contact going unchecked. And it raises a serious question: where in the world is the line between hard-nosed competition and dangerous play? Where does the line exist? Where? That's the huge question, because today we are breaking down the story that people keep talking about the WNBA's physicality. We're going to talk about what has changed, what hasn't, and in a lot of ways why it matters more than ever. But as we go through this, a thing to keep in mind is that this ain't the NBA. The WNBA is not the NBA, nor has it ever been. The WNBA has a different rhythm, a different pace. Yes, a different edge, I would say. The NBA historically has thrived on dunks, on vertical dominance, on, very hard-nosed physicality. Whereas the WNBA has been about finesse, footwork, basketball IQ, and yes, contact, and a lot of it. And earning a space in the WNBA, well, that's a hard thing, okay? Because when you go into the WNBA, you know you are going against some of the best, okay? It is going to be tough, meaning screens are going to hit harder. Box outs are going to be a whole lot tougher. They're going to knock the wind out of you. You're going to get shoulder checked by players. This is not college. This is different. This is the WNBA. And if you're not willing and if you're not ready to take that bump, well, you're not ready for the WNBA. That physicality has always been a part of the league's identity, and look no further than the Houston Comets dynasty, right? The Houston Comets, for years, at the start of the WNBA, showed physicality every single game and had a relentless, dominant nature. The Houston Comets did not finesse their way to several back-to-back championships. No, they fought for it. Every single game, every single night. It was physical. It was tough. And the best team ultimately made stuff happen. So, This is the WNBA. Welcome to the WNBA. This is where, it's a rite of passage to get your WNBA welcome to the W moment, right? Maybe it's a shoulder check from Alyssa Thomas. Maybe it's Jonquel Jones locking you up. Maybe you're getting hit hard on a screen. From a vet who's like, hey, I'm not here to babysit you. I'm about to lay you out. If you're not ready for the screen, hey, your teammates didn't call it out. Like, hey, that's on you, right? Basically, all players have had a welcome to the WNBA moment. And sometimes it happens in their first game in the WNBA. Sometimes it happens later on. Sometimes they're the ones giving the welcome to the WNBA moment to veterans, right? Either way, physicality is a thing, and it's something that has been not just acknowledged, but also something that has been celebrated in the WNBA. The WNBA is intense, right? It is a lot of contact. It always has been. But the question is, guys, has the WNBA actually changed? Because some folks think that the league has actually gotten less physical. And honestly, to a certain extent, I do agree. Basketball across the board from the NBA to the W has shifted. It has allowed for way more spacing, more threes, less hand checking, a lot of the hard-nosed, grinded-out part of basketball has been removed from the game, right? You hear people all the time say, oh, back in the day, this was allowed, and now you can't even touch a player. Now you can't even do this. It's going to be a foul. You're going to get, all this stuff is going to happen. Basically, what I'm trying to say is there is less physicality now than before, right? It is. If you look at the NBA, same thing. Look at the WNBA. Look at the sort of early parts of the league, into the early 2000s, and then you compare it to now. It's less, in my opinion, less physicality now than it used to be. And in a lot of ways, that physicality that's in basketball is what makes it so great. But here's where it gets complicated, guys. Here's the problem. The issue is not that the WNBA is too physical. The issue is that the officiating cannot seem to keep up. You got hair pulls, you got arm grabs, like hard arm tugs, right? You got fans watching, a player get yanked by the braids on TV, and the refs, player get mad, right? The refs end up calling a tech on Angel and on Tina Charles. Now, did they deserve techs? Sure, absolutely. But they didn't call anything on the player who started the whole thing by pulling hair. Now, you all can argue with yourselves in terms of whether or not that was a intentional thing from Bria Hartley. Regardless, that should have been a flagrant foul. Automatic flagrant foul. Right? That was crazy. And we just had another instance of hair pulling even before this, where Dejanay Carrington pulled Sarah Ashley Barker, literally pulled her down by the hair. Again, no flagrant. What are we doing here? These are not small mistakes. And this is just two examples of just larger referee inconsistencies that we see. Because they're not small mistakes. They are big level issues. Because when the line between physical play and possibly dirty play gets blurry, it's not good for the league. It's not good for the league because you're risking injuries, you're risking player trust, you're risking the integrity of the game. Okay? The league needs to do a better job. Period. Point blank. Point blank, period. The league needs to do a better job because this is not okay. Because, yeah, there's lots of people who are like, hey, where do we go from here? Some say we should lean into speed and skill, de-emphasizing contact, I should say. Others are saying, you know what? Don't water down the product. The WNBA is a competition, right? This is not a skills contest. This is basketball, real basketball, right? So it's more finesse versus more physicality. But I think there's a middle ground. In my opinion, there is a middle ground. And the middle ground is let the players play, let them battle, let the contact flow. However, protect your players. Set a clear standard and adhere to it when players do certain stuff. Now, here's an easy one. Here is an easy place to start. Can we just make a simple rule right now? Hair pulling is an automatic flagrant one. End of story. No questions about it. Can we do that? Because this league is filled with women who have lots of hair, who, if you allow this to continue and you don't make a hard, fast rule, something else may end up happening because you don't want to mess with the wrong person that you pulled their hair and something comes out and then it's a whole nother thing. Nip it in the bud right now. Nip it in the bud right now. Make a change. Make a change about this, okay? Because you do not want the natural results if this thing continues. You don't. I'm just saying. I don't know how much more I can spell it out without exactly saying it. Like, you all know what I'm talking about, right? You don't want that. You do not want that. The wrong player to get their hair pulled, something comes out, and then now it's a huge thing. I'm just saying. You don't want that. The league is filled with elite athletes, fantastic athletes. And they deserve better than wishy-washy calls all the time. Right? They deserve consistency. That's what these players deserve. The league is physical. No problems about that. I have no issues with that at all. I actually love the physicality of the WNBA. You all have heard me on this channel talk about the physicality. Right? But there is a sweet spot. Let players battle. No, not every single time a player gets touched should it be a foul. No, absolutely. I disagree with that. There are some people who are like, I saw 10 fouls in this one play because, see, she touched her shoulder. Then she touched her hip. Then she touched the top of the basketball and it touched her fingertips. That's 3 fouls right there. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. That's not okay. All right? That's not cool. I'm not in favor of every single time a player getting touched, that being a foul. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying let the competition be fierce, but protect your players. Keep a lookout for hard fouls and call it consistently. Don't sometimes call the small ticky-tack fouls and then ignore some of the bigger fouls. Right? Be tough. But toughness has a line. Right? At the end of the day, the WNBA is built different. It is. This is a league that is fast, it is physical, it is strategic. And at the end of the day, if you're not ready for contact, you're not ready for the WNBA. But that does not mean that anything goes. That's not what this means. The league, the refs, the fans, everybody has a role to play in keeping this game elite. And ultimately keeping players protected on the court. So, yeah, the WNBA is physical. Should be. Should always be. It always has been, always should be, always will be, hopefully. That's not the problem. The question is, how do we make sure it never totally crosses the line? Because sometimes it seems like that line is disappearing. It is absolutely disappearing. And I want to sort of kick off this conversation. I'm going to get to y'all chats, and we're gonna talk through this together. We're going to spend a couple minutes talking through it and getting you all's opinions. But I do want to leave with this. All right. So I want to leave with this, and I want to leave with an old quote by Sheryl Swoopes, one of the best WNBA players, one of the best women's basketball players to ever do it. Right. Sheryl Swoopes was one of the original players in the league, right? She was a part of that, right? A part of the dynasty that was the Houston Comets. So back when the league was just 10 years old, the WNBA asked several players at the time, what has changed in the last 10 years, right? So 10 years old, the WNBA. And Sheryl Swoopes is asked this question, what has changed in the last 10 years for the WNBA? And here's this quote that I want to go through, okay? She says, first of all, there's definitely more talent in the league today than there was 7 or 8 years ago. But I think the biggest difference is that all the young talent that we have in the league today. And when I look at the college game today, it's going to get better. And it did get way better. But here's the part of the quote. Here's the part of the quote that I want to specifically hone in on. Okay, she says, as far as the physicality of it, I'm glad I'm not a referee because you just never know. Sometimes they're calling every little bitty thing and you've got people complaining about that because that's not what fans want to see. Now, it's very physical and people are complaining about that. It's too physical. That's not what the coaches want. That's not what players want. So you got to give and take. You got to give a little and take a little. The point of me showing this quote is because I wanted to give you all a sense of the fact that this conversation is not new. Back when the WNBA was only 10 years old, there was conversations being had about the physicality of the game, right? This is a thing. There has been a conversation about the refs calling small stuff, and then the refs not calling some bigger stuff, right? The refs has always been an issue. It's always been a conversation about what should be allowed and what should not be allowed. the point of me showing this is to give context. Okay? That's the point. That's the point. And to say that the refs have a hard job. They do. They have a hard job. Very hard job. And the WNBA needs to invest in refereeing more. Because refereeing is such a hard job, you can't just you gotta make sure everybody's up to snuff. Hey, you need to be reviewing calls and saying, hey, you just missed this blatant flagrant right here. So we need to give you more training. Or if referees are seemingly always missing flagrants, why don't you bench them or do something, some sort of consequence for not being a good ref and missing stuff? Of course, refs are going to miss stuff, but consistently is just a whole nother thing. It's just a whole nother thing. You know, the idea of special whistles, that's always a conversation. However, we just need to see a little bit more consistency from the refs, and we need to acknowledge that, yes, the WNBA is physical. It should stay physical, in my opinion. Absolutely. However, there is a line, and we have seen that line crossed several times over the years. And the WNBA has to do something about it, or else it is going to really, really hurt the future of the league. Right? It really is. Because I'm just saying that hair pulling thing is a problem. And if you all want some random basketball lore, if you want just some random history, and we're gonna get to y'all comments real quick. But do y'all remember the sort of feud between Lisa Leslie and Lauren Jackson? Do y'all remember that? Y'all remember? Do y'all remember back in the day? I believe it was an international competition. It was between the U.S. and Team Australia. And in that game, Lisa Leslie got her ponytail pulled by Lauren Jackson. And that was the thing that, like, them two, if y'all go back, there's a video actually. There's a video that walks through the beef between Lisa Leslie and Lauren Jackson. And in a lot of ways, that beef kind of started when Lauren Jackson pulled Lisa Leslie's hair. Now, Lisa thinks that Lauren did it on purpose. She thinks that Lauren did it on purpose. Right? And Lauren was like, "Hey, I didn't do that on purpose. That wasn't I didn't do that." And that just started this whole thing. This whole thing, man. And Australia and the US was always a battle, and that just added more fuel to the fire. Okay? I'm just like, that was absolutely a thing. Any OG women's basketball fans that remember that? Anybody else remember that? I'm just saying. Okay. Thank you so much, Angie, for the super chat. Says, also, the refs take too much time reviewing plays. They do take a lot of time reviewing plays. I do think that a suggestion that I have for the WNBA is that they should consider doing something that the NFL does, and I'm not sure if the NBA does it, but you know how you have referees on the court, but you also have sort of a head referee that's off in some random location that is reviewing plays in real time, and they can talk to the refs and be like, "Oh, yeah, I saw this, call this, whatever," to make it faster, right? There needs to be a off-site reviewer that can like quickly review stuff, so the refs in person does not have to, watch something several times to end up getting a call. And even with like the review of that hair pull and whatnot, The referees, they took a while to like review that play, and they ultimately just end up calling text, but they didn't call a flagrant on the hair pull. And I think it's because they weren't really paying attention to that. They were paying more attention to the interaction between Angel and Tina Charles. And if there was an off-site ref, they could have said, okay, let's make sure that we call that a flagrant, and move on. And so it could be a lot quicker. That's my thoughts there. Okay. All right, let's get to y'all comments. Let's see what y'all got to say in the comments. There's a lot of random talk in the chat. There's a lot of random talk in the chat. Not sure totally what's going on. There's talks about a dress code. Why do players need a dress code? Family First says, Quita, please talk about how Andrew Reese trademarked me bounds. Maybe I'll talk about it more tomorrow, but genius. I talked about it a little bit on Twitter. Like, it's a genius idea. Genius. Okay? Dion says, this is Plum. This is why Plum switched to a hair bun instead of the college ponytail Quita. I didn't know that, if that's the truth. Teacher says the comments are just the same old Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese nonsense. People won't get over it. That's true. That is true. El Kune says, I like the drama of the W right now. I can't even lie. The refs make it more spicy. Does the NBA still have a dress code? I remember back when the NBA used to wear suits when they would there was suits all the time, and now it's like very, very casual. It's very, very casual now for the NBA. So do they still have a dress code? I'm curious. All right. Well, I don't really see any coherent comments, at least recently, that like are actually talking about the subject. And so we will move on. Though Jose does say should be a flagrant 1 normally, but that should have been a flagrant 2 ejection. Honestly, I would have been fine if they would have called that a flagrant 2 straight up ejection. I would have been fine with that in terms of like that Bria Hartley thing. In terms of hair pulling, automatic flagrant 1. Automatic, in my opinion. But sure, if you want to make that further and make that a flagrant 2, I have no problems with that either. Now, while the examples I'm giving today are specifically about hair being pulled, there have been a couple of possible flagrants that have not been called flagrants this year that had nothing to do with hair pulling. So like, this is not just a thing that it's like, oh, you only care about hair pulling. No, it's two similar examples, and I wanted to talk about it and use these 2 examples as things that we can take larger conversation about. So yeah. Anyway. Guys, I do have some like coolish news for you. I got some coolish news for you. Are you interested in getting some merch? Anybody interested in getting some merch? Well, I do have something to talk about, something that I think is actually pretty cool that I want to talk about, and it is in relation to Sue Bird, because the legend is still doing stuff in the women's basketball space, and she has created a new partnership with eBay that I wanted to talk about, and I want to talk about it and make it cool. Actually, real quick before we do go through that, I actually do see some comments. Some people are talking about hair no longer than shoulder length. Okay. Isn't there already a rule about nails? Like you can't have long nails. That's already a rule, I believe. But yeah, in terms of a rule around hair length, I actually don't. I don't agree with that. I think that's way too far for the league. I mean, just literally just don't pull hair. Like, I think that's what it is. Or if you want to make a rule about it, okay, well, hair needs to be in a ponytail or in braids or like or something that's sort of like pulled back or something. But hair length, I don't think that's a reasonable request. And I can tell you this right now: the Players Association they're not gonna allow that. No, they're not gonna allow that. Anyway, back to the conversation, and we're gonna switch gears a little bit and talk real quick about merch, because who doesn't like merch? I think everybody kind of likes merch. Merch is kind of cool. It's kind of fun. I would say. I think. And guys, what if you could own a piece of WNBA history? What if? Maybe it's a ticket from the game that Lisa Leslie dunked at. Maybe it's a rookie card signed by Asia Wilson. Maybe it's one of Caitlin Clark's cards that has been selling for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Well, now you can, because Sue Bird, yes, the WNBA legend, Sue Bird has curated a massive auction that celebrates the past, present, and future in the W. And I think it is pretty cool. So I want to share my screen real quick and show you all what you all can possibly purchase when it comes to WNBA history. Again, it is kind of cool. It is kind of cool. All right, here we go. This is the eBay site right now. eBay has this week has worked with Sue Bird to launch what they are calling the Dream Draft. It is an exclusive auction of over 100 hand-picked WNBA collectibles, and you can take a look at some curated lists. So, for example, they have a whole Legends section where if you go there, you can take a look at some history. Old school bobbleheads, which I didn't even realize the WNBA did bobbleheads back in the day. Sylvia Fowles card. Like you got Penny Taylor bobblehead. Okay, I didn't see that one earlier. You got some cool looking stuff where you could buy players' cards that are autographed, right? Look at this Dawn Staley player card. Like, I'm just saying, it's back when she was in college, but still, it's still like relative WNBA history, right? There's lots of stuff that you could purchase. A lot of stuff that you could purchase. And the cool thing about this draft or this Dream Draft is what they're calling it, is because you get a chance to own a piece of history, from signed jerseys to one-of-one cards. There's a lot in this collection. Even a signed shoe. It's kind of cool. It is kind of cool the amount of merchandise that is on this list. And again, we're in the category of WNBA legends, which is kind of cool. Even a gold medal that has already been sold. But yeah, this is a pretty cool thing to see. This is not just a thing that like Sue Bird just threw together. This was in a lot of ways created with a lot of intention. These pieces that you see are collectibles, right? They tell a history of the players who have existed in this league, the players in the past who've existed, the players currently. And ultimately, it's kind of cool to just be able to get a piece of history. Look at this. Look at this. Guys. This stuff is selling for a lot of money. A whole lot of money. Right? Right now, the offer for this signed Caitlin Clark draft night card, it's almost $13,000. Uh-oh. No. There we go. $13,000 for a card. It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild to see, you know? But anyway, I'm just scrolling through this. I want to give you all a sense. Shout out to the awesome person of the internet. Somebody sent me a message saying, like, hey, Quita, you haven't talked about this. I just want to send this to you and make sure you're aware of it. And I was not aware. I did not realize that this auction was even happening. And I do want to shout out that awesome person on the internet. I didn't get permission if I was cool to say their name. But anyway, you know who you are. Shout out to the awesome person on the internet who emailed me about this, because this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. So yeah, you can pick up a whole bunch of different memorabilia, a whole bunch of different stuff, and check it out. Like, honestly, I'm seriously thinking about getting this Candace Parker bobblehead. That's kind of cool. Look, and again, this is official. This was a Adidas production, right? And it got all the accolades for Candace Parker, right? This was back when she was playing for the LA Sparks. You know, guys, this is like pretty cool. This is pretty cool. And I'm actually seriously thinking about getting this. This is only $50 so far. I think I might put an offer in for that. That seems pretty cool. That'd be a cool collection item. But as you can see, there's a lot of old stuff. There's a lot of new stuff as well. And I just wanted to highlight it. I just wanted to talk about it real quick because when we talk about the legacy of the WNBA, there has been a lot of merch that has been created. A lot of merch. A whole lot of merch. And it's kind of cool to see this become a thing. Guys, the reason why eBay is doing this is because search growth when it comes to the WNBA has skyrocketed, right? It has skyrocketed. When we see over the last couple of years, it says searches for the WNBA rose 480% year over year when you compare 2024 to 2025. Right? Also, the number of WNBA jerseys sold increased 170% year over year from 2023 to 2024. Right? Also, the number of WNBA trading cards has grown 650% from 2020 to 2024. Basically, what I am saying is the WNBA is now more of a money game than it has been, right? It is. And hey, eBay is like, you know what? Let's hook up with one of the most legendary WNBA players of all time, and let's have her help us curate a list of stuff to get. So, if you all go to ebay.com/INF/dream_draft, you all can pick up or bid on any of these things. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff for offer. And it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. It's varied too. So anyway, I just wanted to show this to you all and make sure you all are aware of it. It's not all WNBA stuff. Some stuff is like college stuff as well, but it's of current and former WNBA players. So pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. And this is Sue Bird's Dream Draft. All right, let's get back to our normal conversation. Unless you all have something to say about the Dream Draft. Hosu says, I don't get paying so much for them, but I don't get collecting sports cards as a whole. I don't understand the whole sports card collection thing either. I like merch. I absolutely do like merch. But yeah. All right. Anything anybody got to say? Well, yeah, she absolutely is a global megastar. She is. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Yep, yep, yep. And hey, she knows that. That's why that's why she's making a whole bunch of money. It's smart. Smart, smart, smart. Anyway, let's get back to the main conversation that we were having earlier. And I want to change gears a bit. And actually, I want to change gears to talk about transactions. So we have seen a lot of transactions recently in the WNBA. And I just want to go through them real quick to talk about what you all need to know about them. So, guys, players have left. At this point, the players that are going overseas to play in Eurobasket have left already. And I want to talk about what that means. And for some of these players, that meant that they have been temporarily suspended. Other players have just been fully waived, but players have been temporarily suspended so that they can go overseas. The reason why they're temporarily suspended because they're not with the team right now. So they're not with the team. They're playing overseas with another team, so they have to be temporarily suspended until they come back, and then they get put on the active list. So what we saw starting last week was that Julie Van Loo got temporarily suspended from the Golden State Valkyries. Remember, guys, she plays for Team Belgium, and so, of course, she's going over there. Same for Julie Alleman as well, who plays for the Sparks. She's also going over to Team Belgium. Jessica Shepard is going overseas as well. She has been temporarily suspended. And as a result of some of the players getting temporarily suspended so that they can go overseas, teams got to figure out what to do. And one of the many players that the Golden State Valkyries have added has been Aerial Powers. Aerial Powers was out of the league to start this season, but now she's back and she is with Golden State and she is having a ball. Okay, but those were not the only changes that happened last week. We also saw Janelle Salon end up getting temporarily suspended again. She is going overseas as well. I believe she plays for France, I believe. And yeah, so she's temporarily suspended. She's of course going to be back. Hopefully none of these players that are going overseas get hurt, but yeah, they plan on coming back. So that is why it is temporarily suspended. And then for the Aces, they ended up waiving Crystal Bradford and then brought on Joyner Holmes for a rest of the season. Actually, for the rest of the season, hardship contract because there's some injuries and players out, right? Megan Gustafson is still injured. Cheyenne Parker-Ty is still pregnant. And so, the Aces are down some players. And so they had the ability to get a hardship contract, especially because they waived Crystal Bradford and they added in Joyner Holmes. We also saw the Indiana Fever release Aria McDonald last week, and the reason for that is because the Fever are healthy now, right? They're healthy now. They cannot have that hardship contract anymore because, the player, Aria McDonald was signed on a hardship contract. So that means when the healthy players return, that hardship contract has to be gone. You have to cut that player because it's not a hardship anymore because the players are back. And so Aria McDonald will be back in this league. No question about it. Whether or not the Fever waives somebody to add her on, or she ends up signing with the Dallas Wings or the Sky or some team like that, I absolutely think that Aria McDonald will be back in this league. No issues with that. I give it about a week, maybe, and we're gonna see her sign somewhere. I don't think that performance that she did, that short little stint of 4 games. That stint of 4 games that she did with the Indiana Fever, I don't think that goes on deaf ears. I think teams, I saw that and they're like, okay, Arie. So Arie's gonna be back. She's going to be back. Leonie Fibich also got temporarily suspended. Again, she is also going overseas to play in Eurobasket as well. And then most recently on Sunday, we saw a whole bunch of things happen with the Golden State Valkyries. Timmy Fag-Benlay is gone overseas. She's playing for, I believe she's playing for Great Britain for Eurobasket. So she was temporarily suspended by the Golden State Valkyries. And so now all the Valkyries players that were European, they're all, I mean, the European players that were going overseas, they have gone. And now the Valkyries got to make some changes. They got to add some people in, and they have added Chloe Bibby and Caitlin Chen back to their roster. I think this is a genius GM move because both Chloe Bibby and Caitlin Chen are familiar with this team because they went through the training camp process, right? And so now you have players who you don't have to teach as much because they're very familiar with it, right? You just plug them in, and you see how it works out. If they play exceptionally well, maybe some of these players who are returning from Eurobasket, maybe a decision has to be made. Do I think that's likely going to happen with the Valks? No, but still, I still think it's smart to bring on players who have gone through training camp with you because again, it's less of a system you have to teach. For a player like Aerial Powers, there's a lot of stuff that Natalie Nicasio has to teach because Aerial Powers was not with the Golden State Valkyries in training camp, but Chloe Bibby, Caitlin Chen, they were, and it's a lot easier for them to go through that process. And so again, from a general manager perspective, I really do think that the way that the Golden State Valkyries are handling things is so smart. So smart. In a year of Eurobasket, to have the Americans that you had and that you end up cutting in training camp to continue that relationship, so that way when your European players go overseas, you can then just slide in your Americans, to play and hopefully not miss too much of a beat while those European players are out. Now, there's an argument that's made of this is why the WNBA should be more focused on American players or just players who are not going overseas to play for Eurobasket. I think there's an argument there as well. There's absolutely an argument there. But this is where we are. The WNBA, it allows it. And so it is what it is. And it's up to GMs to take advantage of it the most they can. And the Golden State Valkyries have done exactly that. They've done exactly that. Also, guys, the thing to note is yesterday we just saw the news that Mackenzie Holmes has signed a rest of the season contract with the Seattle Storm. Also, guys, if you all are not aware, there are so many injuries for the Dallas Wings that the Dallas Wings are going to have to make some moves. They're going to have to make some moves because they're just hurt. They're down. They're down bad. They are absolutely down bad. And so we'll see. We'll ultimately see what happens with the Wings. Maddie Siegrist, she was diagnosed with a I don't really even know how to pronounce this, anterolateral tibial plateau fracture in her right knee, and so she is going to be out for a significant amount of time. And Maddie Siegrist is, in my opinion, a huge piece for this Dallas Wings team, and for her to be out for a while, that's going to be tough for the squad. And so I totally expect the Dallas Wings to make some moves. They did make a move by trading Lee Yeru. Trading for Lee Yeru. I think that's a smart decision because both of the centers for the Dallas Wings are overseas. Louisa Geisel-Solder and Tierra McCowan are both overseas playing in Eurobasket, and so you add in a player like a Lee Yeru, who, in my opinion, is better than she get used as. Like she doesn't get used. She didn't get used that much when she was with Chicago. This year so far has not been used that much with Seattle. And I actually like the move to Dallas. I actually think that that Lee Yuru is gonna be a really, really good post option for Dallas. All right. Looks like I missed some super chats from earlier, so I'm going to get to those right now. Again, thank y'all so much for the super chats. We're about to wrap this plane up. So any last thoughts? Please share them in the comment section. All right. So we hear from Lewis, who says, thanks so much for the super chat. Lewis says, Bria, Tina, and Angel should have been booted. I mean, I disagree. I don't have a problem with players getting upset, and they deserve the tech. Yeah, I totally agree with the decision to give Angel and Tina Charles the tech. But I also believe that at the minimum, Bria Hartley should have gotten a flagrant 1 for that hair pull. Angie, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, I like making predictions, and I predict the Caitlin Clark draft jersey will sell for over $100,000. I mean, hey, there's some Caitlin Clark fans who got that money, and honestly, I wouldn't put anything past anybody. Okay. So yeah, Angie, you absolutely may be right. It actually may be more than $100,000. Because one thing we know for sure, when stuff has Caitlin's name on it, especially if it has her signature or something like that on it, oh, dog, it's going for a lot of money. It's going for a lot of money. It just is. All right. Death, taxes, and people paying a lot of money for Caitlin Clark merch. Okay? It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. All right. It is a fact at this point. All right. We also hear from, why is this so small? We also hear from Shamika. Thank you so much for the super chat, Shamika. Says, speaking of transactions, why hasn't Chicago gone after Arie McDonald? Well, important thing to know is that the Chicago Sky, have a sort of cap sheet problem. All right? They have a cap sheet problem. And I want to actually show you all the issue that the Chicago Sky are dealing with and something they got to figure out. So here's the deal. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I wasn't planning on doing this, so of course it's not the best view. But here is the cap sheet for the Chicago Sky. Okay? And on this, you, of course, so first, in order to navigate this, I want to walk through the guaranteed contracts that you have right now, right? You got Ariel Atkins on a guaranteed contract. You got Beck Allen on a guaranteed contract. Mariah Jefferson is guaranteed. And Rachel Banham is guaranteed. Okay, these are players that you just can't, if you cut them, you're going to have to pay them, which the Sky are not going to do, so they're not getting cut. Okay? So got those players. So you can't cut any of them. Then you got Courtney Vandersloot. She's hurt now. You can't cut her now. Like, you just can't. You can't cut her. It's too late. Like, and also you were never gonna cut her anyway. Like, you know, PR wise, it'd be terrible if this guy cut her. Like, she's not getting cut. Then you have Kia Nurse, who absolutely can get cut. And that may be a possibility. However, we have seen that Tyler Marsh is a huge fan of the possibility of Kia Nurse knocking down 3-point shots. And so I don't see her getting cut. Like, that could be the possible one that gets cut, but I just don't see it actually happening because of what seemingly both Tyler and Jeff have kind of said about Kia Nurse. I don't think they're willing to do it. We also got Michaela Onyenwere on a unguaranteed contract. Same thing for Elizabeth Williams. Neither one of these players are going anywhere. Definitely Elizabeth Williams is not going anywhere at all. And we have Camilla who's not guaranteed, Angel, Haley, and Maddie. So, of course, you are not, you'll be out your mind if you couldn't Camilla or Angel. And also, at this point, with the performance that we just saw from Haley, yeah, her too. Maddie, possibly. I mean, because she hasn't gotten much playing time and whatnot. So, possibly. The Sky could cut some players. I just don't see it likely. I think the only player they would likely have cut would be Mariah Jefferson, but Mariah Jefferson's on a guaranteed contract, so she can't get cut. Kia Nurse is not going to get cut because from the press conferences and everything I've heard Tyler Marsh say about Kia Nurse, it doesn't seem like him or Jeff would actually pull the trigger on actually cutting Kia Nurse. Right? Like I just don't see it. Now, would that be a bad move if they cut her? Nah, I don't think that would be a bad move at all. Do I think they will make that move? No, I don't think they will. Right? So yeah, that's where we are right now. That's where we are. It doesn't make sense for this guy to buy out Mariah Jefferson. The only reason you buy out a player is because you're expecting to do something great with that player being gone, right? You're expecting to do something fantastic. And with the Chicago Sky, you're still a bubble playoff team with or without Mariah Jefferson. So getting rid of her is not going to make much of a it's not like you're going to get rid of her, bring in somebody else and try to compete for a championship. Like it's just not happening, right? The only times that you really see buyouts is like the Indiana Fever. Like they were like, "Hey, we want to really compete for a championship, and so hey, we got to make all the major moves we need to make, and so yeah, we'll do a buyout." Does that make sense? You don't do a buyout just to get incrementally better. If that incrementally better does not have the possibility of leading to a championship. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Also, Shamika says, thanks so much for the super chat. Says Kia Nurse can go. Sorry, love you. Bye. But Shamika, I don't think that that the Sky would actually do it. I don't think they'd pull the trigger on that. I don't. Could I be wrong? Sure. I just don't think they'll do it. Yeah, Brett, like the Fever and Katie Lou Samuelson. Yeah, the Fever were like, hey, we got huge aspirations. And this guaranteed contract that Katie Lou has is too much for us. We need to buy her out. And it made a lot of sense for the Fever because, again, the Indiana Fever are trying to win a championship. They're not just trying to make the playoffs. And so it makes sense for them to do what they're doing. All right. All right, guys. At this point, I think that is enough for the show. I do want to see if y'all have any last second comments about anything that we talked about today. Anything that we talked about today, y'all got anything to say? If not, we will rock and roll later. Says DW says drop a like for Quita just past 600. Shout out to y'all. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me, guys. This is Quita in the Mornings. My name is Quita. We are in the mornings and we're talking about women's hoops. This is what we do here. This is what we enjoy. I think it is a very, very fun time for us to just have a good time talking about hoops. So let's talk. Let's have a good time. Okay. Let's have a good time. Also, it's important to note that you cannot just temporarily suspend someone for no reason. Okay? The reason why the players that are playing in Eurobasket, which starts this week, the reason why those players have been suspended is because they're temporarily suspended is because they are away from the team. If a player is with the team, a team cannot just say, we're going to temporarily suspend you for no reason. No, you actually have to have a reason. You have to have a reason. Also, guys, if y'all write a comment and y'all comment vanishes and y'all are wondering what happened to my comment, it's probably because you type your comment in all caps. Guys, I got some awesome mods. Shout out to I think Tisha is in the chat today. Shout out to Tisha. I apologies if I'm missing another mod that's on right now. But again, if you type in all caps, Tisha will remove your comment. Not because your comment is bad, but because all caps does hurt the YouTube algorithm, okay? All caps hurts it. It hurts the YouTube algorithm. So please, 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 don't type in all caps, because if you do, you're going to get your comment removed and you're going to be mad and you're going to be like, hey, they're silencing me. They're doing XYZ. No, it's for a reason, guys. Okay? It's for a reason. It's not good for the YouTube algorithm. Okay? All right. Miss Finn says Damaris Dantas is going to Brazil, so she will need to be temporarily suspended. Yeah. So when Damaris Dantas, when Camila Cardoso, when any of the other players who are going over to play for their national team, when they leave, then they will be temporarily suspended. Yeah, when they leave, they will be temporarily suspended. But right now, if they're still with the team, then they're not temporarily suspended just yet. Kelvin says, I don't see you live on Facebook, because I'm not live on Facebook. I'm only live on YouTube and Twitter. All right, YouTube and Twitter. Also, guys, you all can absolutely try watch or listen to the show after the fact on podcast. So if you all search up Quita in the Morning wherever you get your podcast, whether that's Apple or Spotify, you all can check out the show. If y'all miss a video live stream, or you don't want to watch the video later, you can listen to it. Okay? So listen to Quita in the Morning wherever you get your podcast, okay? That's a new thing that every single day the live stream will be posted up on the podcast feed, and so please make sure to subscribe to the Quita in the Morning podcast, okay? All right. That really, really does help out, okay? But yeah, if you all could, go over to Quita in the Morning podcast and rate and review, that would be awesome as well. Okay. Because we just started uploading to that, and I asked them yesterday, I was like, how is the podcast stuff doing? And they're like, actually, no one's really listening to the podcast. So please promote it. Please talk about it. So that's what I'm trying to do. I am trying to do that. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. I think that's it. Okay, real quick, guys. There are some fantastic games that are happening tonight, and I want to just go through them real quick. The Connecticut Sun is facing the Indiana Fever. Will the Connecticut Sun get a win? Likely no, but hey, maybe Caitlin will have another 30-point game or a triple-double or whatever. That game is happening at 7 p.m. Central Time. We also have the Atlanta Dream taking on the New York Liberty. That is going to be a game, okay? It's going to be a game because remember, the Atlanta Dream are rocking and rolling right now. They are cooking. And the New York Liberty, hey, they just lost real bad. And so we'll see. What they are able to do. Because remember, they are Leone Fibich and I believe John Cole Jones are still out. And so, yeah. I'm anticipating an Atlanta Dream win. That's what I'm anticipating. We'll see what happens. We have the Washington Mystics taking on the Chicago Sky. That game is happening at home in Chicago, so I will be there. I will be at the game in person. If y'all are at the game, come hang out with me. I sit behind the Sky bench and just come over and say what's up. You know, if you want to hop on the live, you can hop on the live and say something to the people real quick. But yeah, I will be there for the Sky Mystics game, so I will not be covering live any other game tonight. The only game I will be covering live tonight is the Mystics versus Sky, and that will be on my other Talking Sky with Quita and Mama channel. Okay. Mama actually will be at the game. So for the people who are asking how Mom is doing, she is doing great, and she will be at the game with me tonight. We also have the Golden State Valkyries versus the Dallas Wings as well. I anticipate the Valkyries is going to get that dub, but just maybe, the Wings may be able to pull out a win. That game is happening at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We also have the Aces versus the Lynx as well. I think the Lynx has that game because, again, Asia Wilson is still out on concussion protocol, and I think that the Lynx are just going to cook. They're going to cook. That game is also happening at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We also have the Seattle Storm versus the LA Sparks as well. That game is happening super late at 10 p.m. Eastern time. And for that game, the game should go to the Storm. However, you know, the Sparks could pull up an upset. I'm just saying. They could pull up an upset. All right. All right. Kim says, Quita, the ad volume is blasting me. Those are YouTube ads that they just kind of put in. That's weird that like it's loud. I'm not exactly sure. Sorry about that. I don't know. I think that's more of a YouTube problem. But I'll look back at the stream and see if there's an issue there. Sorry about that though. JN says, thanks so much for the super chat, says, need another triple double Angel hashtag Skytown. Man, if Angel get another triple double, man, I'm going wild. I am going wild, okay? I'm going wild. But yeah, a whole lot of games, and talk to me tomorrow for Quita in the mornings as I recap all the games that happened today. So after the Sky game, I'm gonna stay up, watch all the other games. I watch them pretty fast. I watch them in like 1.5 speed. If I'm watching after the fact, so I can get through them quicker. But I'll watch them all, and then I'll be right here tomorrow to recap all the games that happened. Okay. So thank y'all so much for watching. We're going to talk Me Bounds. We're going to talk about all the games that happened today, as well as some CBA stuff in tomorrow's stream. All right, guys. I will see y'all in the next one. Until next time, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe, rate and review this if you are listening on podcast. Please rate and review Quita in the morning. And I will see y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Are you ready?
Ready, set, go.